welcome you into Next Pod with Sarah Kustok, presented by Ticketmaster. And ooh, am I excited for the guests that we have here today. Let's start with the birthday boy, Ryan Ruocco.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Thanks, guys.
Play-by-play partner, the voice of the Brooklyn Nets, and also, does a lot of other things. You know who he is. He's already been on the pod. So we're going to see who is a better podcast. And the great Brian Scalabrine, which, Scal, you are a NBA legend. Currently now you've transitioned, which we'll get into, the broadcast booth. So you are the analyst for the Boston Celtics. You do national NBA analyst work. But more than anything, you're a friend. And you're someone that we love having you because you bring so much light in a room.
I was so happy to get the text, and I moved things around to make this happen.
You did.
Anytime you can double up, come. I'm already here. We're here for the Celtics Nets game, and we could do some more stuff. I'm all about it.
Right. It's a lot better than the text that says, hey, can you meet me at 11 a.m. on the Lower East Side at this studio to go? That's a tough.
You meant to
that's
go
a
do
tough
sprints
yes.
or go do workout.
Oh, no.
Or,
I meant
Scal, I need you to run some kids through some drills.
No. I meant the podcast that takes you someplace other than someplace you already.
I totally agree.
Yeah, those are tougher.
So I'm going to start with, because Rooks, I know you've wanted to be a broadcaster forever, and that's why you're so excellent at your craft. But Scal, I'm curious for you. Before we get into your playing career, when did you know that this was something you either wanted to do or would be so excellent at and excel at?
2008, Tommy Heinsohn was our analyst. He would travel, but he started to not travel.
Okay.
And I'm thinking at the time, I'm year 6, 7, 8, and I'm like, you know what? What a job to end up, covering a team, following the team around. I like the fact that I get a chance to root for the team.
Right.
If I do national stuff, I play it down the middle, but when it comes to calling the game, I enjoy that side of it. It's so much of life is timing. If you look at what Tommy was doing at the time, he was getting up there. I think it's 74. He wasn't traveling as much. And I looked at my career. If I play 3 more years, this will be a great transition. I could be around my family. It's not like the ups and downs or the roller coasters of coaching, but it's still a way of, and I've had a great relationship with the city of Boston at that point. So I started doing man on the street features and stuff like that at the time it was Comcast, and with the idea that I'd be able to take over that job one day.
You know what's interesting about Scal is when there are certain players, as they're playing, that you kind of know that they have this in them, right? And Scal was one of those guys who you could see as the career was going along, okay, he can clearly be somewhere in media, and now you do a little bit of, all of it, right?
Yeah. Sirius XM radio,
you have a radio show hosting, national analyst in studio, and then doing games for a team. So you kind of are you got 3 different buckets within this NBA world. And what you said about the home team thing and that feeling of rooting, I get that, because as a guy who does national games as well, there's a difference, right?
Yeah.
You do a national game, you're right down the middle, no matter what. There's something fun and kind of freeing when you get that opportunity to, within the bounds of professionalism, also have some kind of a rooting interest like you do with the Celtics or like I do with the Nets.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is you learn right away, be versatile in this business. I remember going to my boss and I asked him if I could do the Sirius job, and he looked at me sideways nah, we kind of own you. And right then I was like, that's interesting. And I told him, and this is a bold move for me, I said, I'm going to make X amount of money. Either I can make some from them or I can make all from you. And I walked out of his office. And while I was driving home, he called me and said, hey, we have no problem with you doing the Sirius gig. But I knew right there, it was it put a feeling inside of me, be versatile.
Yeah.
So, and it was great. I always think local level, I get a ton of reps, right?
Yeah.
And so I was calling games when Mike Gorman would be sick or miss a game. So I started doing play-by-play. I was doing analyst. I host in the studio. I was doing stuff with there. I would go on the street. I was terrible at interviewing people.
But you did play-by-play? I didn't even realize that.
I've done over 100 play-by-play games.
Oh, did you know that? I didn't even realize that.
I didn't know you did that much play-by-play, but I did know that you did some.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Scal, that's amazing.
Some on a whim, but I've also done a playoff game. Mike wouldn't travel, and they didn't want to bring somebody else in.
Wow.
So it was just the idea. It was like a neon light be versatile in this business.
Yeah.
And you know who else did that? I got to give him credit. Richard Jefferson did the same thing. You like watching him host shows, and he's doing all these things. And look where he's at right now. I think doing multiple jobs, it refines you for the job that I need to do right now, which is an analyst for the games.
There are some things that just you can only acquire via reps, right?
100%.
It does not matter your talent. If you don't have the reps, there's just certain things you're not going to learn until you go through it. You're just not going to. Obviously, there has to be some level of talent to project what can be, but you don't get to what can be unless you're doing the reps. And Richard's a great example. Obviously, he's a good friend of everyone here. Right. And remember, Richard was starting, Sarah. He was doing random Pac-12 network basketball games because he was like, I'm going to do everything, and that's going to prepare me for the thing I ultimately want, just like it has for you.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a separator, though, and we saw that for you as a player, like understanding the nuances of the little things and knowing how the whole piece of everything works.
Yeah.
I want to go back to you as a player because it's awesome. Like, you have a tremendous career. You're a fan favorite. You mentioned this about broadcasting. I remember people in Chicago when you were playing there, that's what they said. They're like, oh, he's going to be on TV. He's just so smart. He gets it. He knows how to explain the game. What was it like in your trajectory being drafted? You obviously spent time with the Nets, with the Boston Celtics, and with the Chicago Bulls. What was it like, though, being drafted and going to the finals twice so early? Like that type of, and we'll get to your 2008 championship with the Celtics, but like that type of experience at that point in your career.
So I would say my superpower in life is like self-realization of who you are, right? Like, okay, I know I'm not this, that, and that, and I know I need to be this and that to play. But watching Jason Kidd set the tone, it was amazing, right? Like watching how he approached the game, how he approached practice, and it is, I don't know what it is about me, maybe because I look like a redheaded stepchild or whatever, whatever it is, people could be so honest with me. And I remember Jason Kidd, for whatever reason, he didn't have a ride home from the airport and he needed one. So of course he asked me, I'm like, I'm not going to say no. And from that point on, he was such a straight shooter. And I made a mistake one time, and he cut me with it. You guys have seen those eyes before, and he cut me with those eyes, and I was like, all right, don't make that mistake ever again. And it's like the ability to learn, and it's a separator for all NBA players. And if you ever wonder like who makes it and who doesn't, most of the time, like it takes this guy one day to figure it out. It takes that guy a month to figure it out. The 1 day guy is going to move on to something else. The 1 month guy is going to be out of the league, right? So you have to know what you are, who you are, what you do, how you help the team win, how you help superstar players. And I just think like my career, I had great leadership, and following those guys and the tones that they set. And he's not the only one. Like being a backup to Kenya Martin was an experience in and of itself. But you watch how smart he is, and you realize like you better not mess up coverages. I remember messing up a Tracy McGrady, Pat Garrity coverage, and I heard it from him in the film room and every one of the coaches. But those things right there, if you don't learn from that, like I'm out of a job, right? So I look at my career as like the ability to pick things up as fast as you possibly can is how I stayed in the league for 11 years.
Can we go back, though, to your big moments, the end of January 2004? I pulled up these stats because you've the career numbers maybe don't pop off the screen at you, but let's go to the Golden State game.
Yeah.
That was your career game. January 26th. Do you remember this, Rooks? 2004. You were
still
in high school?
It's the
a
Scal
child
game.
Birthday boy. Did
yes.
I 29 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 10 of 16 from the field, 5 of 7 from 3. Yeah. What happened, and what did that feel like for all the work you put in understanding your role?
Well, it was it's all about momentum. And if you get a couple easy baskets early, and with Jason Kidd, it's pretty easy to get some easy baskets early.
Yeah.
Like everything is confidence and momentum, right? And there's a vice versa side of that. I can miss 2 shots in a row and lose my confidence, right? And go back to the bench and be like, man, when am I going to play again, right? So I happened to start. I had a really good game the night before against Sacramento.
Well, the next week, though, you had the Detroit game as well.
Well, that was in the playoffs. So that was was
that same year?
Yeah, the playoffs
okay,
roll around.
Going.
So it's so you just get momentum, and you're playing basketball all the time. I had to work, so I was ready and all that. But the two stars in the team were Kidd and Carter, and I still work with Vince right now at NBC. Like, those guys are so selfless. Like, they want people around them to do well, and so when you have just think about it. And I try to explain this to my daughter who plays. Be like, I've been stamped by Michael Jordan, Jason Kidd, Kevin Garnett. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're you have to understand what that does to your psyche when you get stamped by some of these great players, or Jason Kidd's in there, like giving you a dap as you go back. Yeah, keep killing. That does something to you, right? So I think that's a combination of being prepared, all the work, and all that, and then also having a guy like Kidd look out for you. And he's going back to Oakland, so of course he wants to beat the Warriors, right? So he's doing everything he can to win, and I just remember those two guys were super happy for me, and that's not always the case in the NBA.
Yeah.
And I was super fortunate to be drafted by the Nets at the time they had Stephon Marbury, and then they traded for Jason Kidd. That changed the trajectory of my life, And I'm not trying to downplay who I was or what I am, but I'd be an idiot to think that it was about me and not about the people that were around me.
It's interesting, the way you talk about Jason, and I can even remember when the Mavericks won their championship, when Kidd was with them, and Rick Carlisle. I remember doing an interview with Rick on my radio show with Stephen A. when we used to host a show together, and we asked him, what's the key to this success? And then when Kidd had gone on to the Knicks and they won 50-plus games the one year they did with Melo, first thing he said was Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
Jason Kidd's on their team. And this is obviously a later in his career, almost at the end of his career, Jason Kidd. What was it about Jay Kidd outside of his basketball abilities that has everyone always saying, right away, his impact on winning was something so profound that you could feel it from the time he started in the league to the time he ended, regardless of how his numbers may have changed or his physical or abilities or talent might have changed.
His ability to identify what winning basketball is. Even later in his career, he knew he had to get the ball to Carmelo Anthony, who had a great year, by the way.
Yeah.
He stopped LeBron from getting unanimous MVP. He got one vote from Gary Washburn. But yeah, he was that good. He was really good.
Yeah.
So, LeBron was sick that year, but
Yeah.
to get he was really good that year. And so Kidd did that with Dirk. But at the time when he was with us, he could do that with the fast break. So I just think your life becomes super streamlined.
Yeah.
You know what you have to do. You do your job, and he will help you. If with him somebody misses a shot, if I sprint the floor, even if I don't get it, I could open up a trail three for Kerry Kittles. Right.
Yeah.
Everything you do was purposeful and streamlined. And if you start to deviate, and the NBA could get really murky, teams could have you could have 8 different players with 8 different agendas, right? When your best player is driving the boat, your life and your game and your energy and your focus is streamlined into one or two things. And that's what makes winning basketball. Being, what's going to happen, developing, having all these different things happening. I've been a part of a team like that. 2 years I was with the Celtics before we got Kevin Garnett. It was 8 different things going on at one time. Then you get a Garnett who's just like Kidd. He walks in, he's streamlined, he's focused, and it's it's the head of the snake, and then everyone sort of follows, and we know the direction that we're going. I've never ever was lost on what Kidd was thinking or what he wanted to do. We always were. I felt like when we were good, and distractions happen. People want to get all-stars. People want maximum contracts. All that stuff does happen, but it felt like we were streamlining what we needed to do more than the other teams.
Nothing compares to catching your Brooklyn Nets live, and nobody knows that better than you. Nets fans, it all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Nets and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can experience all the sights, sounds, and styles in person. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Nets tickets at Ticketmaster. Even if you're headed to the game last minute, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live. Get tickets at Ticketmaster.com/Nets.
You know what? Hearing you say that, and thinking about how the other pieces fit into, that's another part of the projection when you're watching a young team develop. You need those stars, right? You need them to be the right stars. But then also some of those pieces that maybe if they're alone, right, you're like, I don't know what this guy can be. But if they get around the right stars, you're like, oh, you know what? That guy, he's a quality NBA starter if he's with the right people. That guy can be the 7th man on a championship team if he has the right core as well if they keep developing and have the right work ethic. And yeah, sometimes, like even looking at the Nets this year, right? Maybe one of the draft picks, maybe two of the draft picks, maybe none of the draft picks are NBA starters. Maybe three of them are when their careers develop. Or maybe there's two or three guys that if they get the right guys around them, we look at and say, you know what? These were the perfect stars for them to develop.
There's a lot that goes into team building.
Yeah.
It's just as important to nail like the 21st pick, get him on a good contract, and like continue to develop him as maybe a role player star, like a star role player, than it is to find the top dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of times you might trade to get the top dog. But all those supplementary pieces, which last year's team had a lot of them, and they've done well when they finally traded like a Dennis Schroeder and like a lot of guys like that. They had some of that, but it doesn't work unless you have the stars.
Yeah, you need that core, no doubt.
Compilation of everything. You're a perfect example. Okay, two more things. Your favorite moment stands out most. You were beloved. You were beloved everywhere. You played, you went, you are, even now. As a Net, what stands out most as your favorite moment?
I mean,
I know there's.
I'm going to say the basketball stuff. I'm going
Yeah.
to say the basketball stuff, but I'm telling you the truth. Like, it's really about those parties at kids' house and the relationships that you build.
Yeah.
Like chopping it up in the locker room. Like when I think about my career, I'll think about those things. I don't think about the game I played, the Detroit games, or double overtime. I don't think about that. I think of like when I see the guys like chopping it up and having conversations and life advice from these unbelievable people, right? So I could say the Detroit game, the run to the finals. I thought we should have like at least forced Game 7 to the Spurs and all that stuff. And all that stuff, I remember all that stuff. But what I remember the most and what's like most fond of after all of it is like the going to people's houses, being casual card games with Rod Thorne as he turned his feet red. Like that stuff was awesome. So I remember the relationships and all the behind the scenes stuff for the NBA. And I enjoyed every minute of it. I wasn't a miserable NBA player, whether I played or I didn't play. Like I just enjoyed being in the process. And I realized like, listen, go back 12 years. Like, come on. I was a high school kid that got cut from the freshman team. Like for me to be in the NBA, I already won. I tell people all the time, like I won when I got a full ride scholarship to school. I won life at that point.
Yeah.
I won life. Everything else was gravy on top, and I wasn't ever going to revert back. I didn't have it in my nature. So those relationships that we built, even when we had a nice run in college, I remember like playing cards at the Marriott on the 15th floor and stuff like that. That's what the NBA and basketball and the experience of going all over the place, that's what that has done for me.
Amazing. We love it. Okay, we have one game for you.
All right, let's do it.
It's hot. Hot Ticket, presented by Ticketmaster. Experience your Nets live with Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Brooklyn Nets. We're going to give you some of the best NBA nicknames of all time, and it's going to be a game. So as we continue to go, you need to pick, and then we're going to see which one wins.
You got it.
In the end.
Like Final Four or something like
Yeah.
that. Okay, you got
yes.
it. Okay.
So this is a competition for each one.
Okay.
Vinsanity versus Dr. J.
Dr. J.
Dr. J versus White Chocolate.
Ooh, for nicknames only?
It's a nickname. We're
Yeah, not the game, not their game.
Not the best
Just
player.
the
This is
nickname.
White
only
chocolate's
nickname.
pretty good. White chocolate.
Yeah.
White Chocolate versus The Answer.
The answer.
The Answer versus The Truth.
The truth is pretty cold. The truth.
The Truth versus Iceman.
I'll go with the truth. I love that nickname, by the way.
Yeah, you a little biased over here?
Yeah. No, I do love the truth.
The Truth versus The Big Fundamental.
The truth.
The Truth versus Big Ticket.
The truth.
The Truth versus The Glove.
Oh, man. The glove. I grew up in Seattle. The glove.
Okay, The Glove versus Diesel.
The glove.
The Glove versus The Admiral.
The glove.
The Glove versus Magic.
Magic. All-time great.
The Glove versus The Dream.
I mean, Magic versus the Dream.
Oh, sorry, Magic
Yeah.
versus. Thank you.
Yeah, you got.
This is
That's
what
why
we got.
I'm the rules coordinator here for this.
Magic.
This
It's going to
game.
be hard to beat Magic. Go ahead.
I'm getting excited. Magic versus Black Mamba.
Magic.
Magic versus White Mamba.
Magic. His nickname is so good that that's actually his name. He doesn't have a real. No one calls him Irving. That's how good that Magic nickname. And come on, it's so fitting. Magic.
Okay, so Magic is the ultimate winner, but
Yeah.
give us the backstory of White Mamba.
Stacey King, an analyst for the Bulls.
Yes.
Like one day he just, he has all kinds of nicknames. He's crazy and all that stuff. And I took down some Kobe Bryant's custom made, and I said, these are the White Mamba 1.0s. He ran with it the next game. We blew a team out. I played in the fourth quarter. I had like 6 points. By the time I got back to Chicago, it spread like wildfire.
Do you enjoy it? Do you like it?
Yeah.
Did you
yeah.
love the chants, the intro? I mean,
Yeah.
it was unbelievable when you would come in a game,
Yeah.
when fans would want you to get into a game.
So when I was in Boston, I didn't embrace it, right? I don't know why. I was like, man, I didn't do anything. Those guys built a 20-point lead. Why are you cheering for me? In Chicago, I totally embraced it. I'd yell on the bench to Thibodeau, like, come on, Tibbs. Listen, 20,000 people, man. You got to give them what they want. He'd go, ugh, like that, you know? So, but no, I totally loved the chants at the end. I really embraced like the last part of my career and all that stuff, and being the fan favorite. I talk crazy trash to my team, all that stuff. Like, you know, the fans really are here to see me, not you, Derek. Like, you know, stuff like that. I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun in Chicago.
You're closer to LeBron than
the normal person is to me. People love that line. But you know what? At 47, gap is changing.
Will
know?
you scallenge again ever?
I don't think so. I think I'd lose. I think I would lose. Like, I play against kids all the time now. They are so much better. Don't let any of these former players tell you their embellished trip down memory lane. Oof. These guys are so much better than we ever were. I don't care if they're saying that, they don't know the league.
Is it true? We remember your championship parade or whatever speech. Did you ever tell your kids that you were MVP?
No, I didn't remember.
And
2008. It was the start of the iPhone, Google.
Okay, so
you know how that. You know, like
fact check.
These kids fact check everything. They have Chat GPT. You know.
Scal, you're awesome. We know you got work to do, but we love you. We appreciate you, and we'll be locking in for all things,
stuff,
all
man.
things every
All right.
time you're on. For Brian Scalabrine, Ryan Ruocco, I'm Sarah Kustok. This has been the Nets Pod, presented by Ticketmaster. Make sure to check us out on YouTube, the Nets YouTube channel, anywhere you get your podcast. Please subscribe, rate, review, all the good things, and we'll see you next time.